What would you do with an extra $10,000? No, honestly, think about it. Maybe you'd get some new designer clothes, get a fresh fit. Or perhaps you'll get that ticket to that place that you always wanted to go. And it might even be as simple as getting rid of any debt that's hanging over your head. Regardless of what it is, I think we could all agree that an extra $10,000 sounds kind of sweet, I can't lie. As someone who recently hit this milestone at 22, I wanted to share some life-changing lessons that I learned that helped me to not only get to this point, but put me on a path to achieve even more. First things first, I can't allow myself to continue this video without first giving glory to God. If you knew the stuff that I was dealing with this year before this point, you would understand. But first, I gotta give thanks to him. I wouldn't be able to do this. I wouldn't be able to achieve this without him. But I also want to give you a brief backstory of where I came from, my situation in life, just to put everything in context. A lot of you know I grew up in the Bahamas. Big up 242, what you saying? Went to Canada for school, got a degree in computer science, got a job in computer science, and then got fired 3 months later. Yep. I spent 4 years on a degree, got in the industry, and they kicked me out within 3 months. They were quite quick with it, I won't lie to you. So how did an unemployed, new international grad make $10,000 in 1 month? It all starts with this simple truth, and that is understanding you need to find a better leverage than time. I'm gonna take you all the way back to 2020. Let me set the scene for you a little bit, right? COVID just happened. School just closed, and I got my first job. My first job was as a temporary general laborer, which basically meant I was doing the jobs that people didn't want to do. I was working on the back of garbage trucks. I was working in construction. Basically anything along those lines, I did it. And I was working for minimum wage, $13 an hour, and I wasn't even guaranteed 40-hour weeks. Now the problem with doing this is your revenue will always be capped. And that's not even me trying to crap on 9-to-5 jobs. You know what? Let's do the math real quick. Okay, $13 a day. That's about $520 a week. That's $27,040 a year. Now let's put all of that in perspective real quick. How much do you think Kim Kardashian makes on a single Instagram post? I'll give you a moment. Think about it. Take whatever number you had in your head, double it, and you might just get close to half of what she makes. On average, Kim Kardashian makes $2,176,000 per Instagram post for one post, one picture. That means at my old job, I would have to work 167,384 hours straight just to catch up with one Instagram post. And in case you didn't understand the sheer magnitude of that number, that's the equivalent of working for 19 years, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just to make one Instagram post. Like, let that sink in, bro. Let that sink in. I see why people do OnlyFans. So that 10K a month that I was talking about earlier, that was the result of multiple brand deals. But I hope you can see just where the disconnect comes, where trading your time for money, whereas trading something like your influence, right? Because there are really only 3 types of leverage: your time, your money, and your influence/power/media. And that's just one example of how you can do it. There are a bunch of different avenues, but you need to find better leverage than your time. But you don't just wake up one day, turn on a camera, and make $10,000. That's not how it works. Which brings me to my next lesson. It took me 3 years of no days off to get to this point. Let me explain. I first started this YouTube channel all the way back in like 2021, I believe it was. And the thing that started it all was I saw an ad on YouTube, which was for Shopify dropshipping. If you don't know, that was like a whole trend back in the day. I think it's basically dead now. And it promised me that I would make $20,000 a week just by following this one strategy. So I was like, all right, I'll bite. Let's see where this goes. I made my whole store. I made my whole brand. And then I realized I don't have money for ads. So what did I do? I started posting content on social media that related somewhat to my niche. I was selling hair caps at the time. So I started posting hair content to try and promote that. And I'll never forget, once my audience started to grow a little bit, I had this one brand reach out to me and they were like, hey, we'd like you to make a post on our stuff. We'll pay you $200 for it. And at the time, as a broke college student, I was like, you gonna pay me money for this? To put it in perspective, right? I was out here trying to sell stuff online and it would take me so long to get to 200. And you just gonna send it to me, just like you gonna send me free stuff and then you gonna pay me just to make a video on it? That's so that's kind of where it all started. But now I've grown my channel to the point where I can make 10 times that amount for the same amount of effort. But remember how I said earlier in the video that I got fired from my job? That was near the end of 2023. For the next few months, I threw myself into content. We're talking about posting 5 to 7 times a week, working 10 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. I did not take a Saturday or a Sunday off for a good 6 months. I bring all this up to say, if you you want to get to that point where your social media or your business or your whatever company or even at your job or that promotion and stuff like that, if you want to get to that high level, you're going to need to build that foundation. The foundation is going to take the most effort, the most work. The benefit of that is it's going to compound. Like I said earlier, I used to make $200 for a post, and I'm saying this just for transparency, not to brag or anything like that. I used to make $200 for a post, but now I could charge 10 times that, and I'm still doing the same amount of effort because I put in the grunt work. That 10 to 12 hour days is now where I could be like, okay, I only have to spend a couple hours a day on my content to bring those brand deals in. So that's just an example of it. Put that work in, put that hard work in, and it's gonna compound in the future, I promise you. But working 12 hours a day still ain't gonna make you 12 grand. There's a big difference between being productive and being busy. You wanna make sure that you're focused on the right things, which brings me to the third and most important lesson, the 80-20 rule. If you don't know what the 80-20 rule is, basically it means that 80% of your outputs come from 20% of your inputs. As of this moment, I have 3 sources of income when it comes to my content creation. There's brand sponsorships and collabs. There's YouTube AdSense, where I get paid from those ads that you see during the videos. Also, like the video, by the way. You've been watching and getting all this free game for what? And just for free? No. And the third thing is selling digital products, courses, stuff like that. Now, you probably assume if I had these 3 sources of income that they're probably around the same proportion, right? Maybe 30% of my income comes from brand deals. Maybe, 40% comes from YouTube, and then the rest comes from digital products. That couldn't be further from the truth. Over 85% of that revenue comes from brand sponsorships alone. Now, let's say I'm trying to maximize the amount of money that I want to make in a year, right? I could go down the route of building up those other sources of income. You could say, Tarek, you know what? You should pour more effort into your YouTube channel. Get more editors. Get someone to do your thumbnails. Get more production quality and stuff like that. That's a reasonable way to go. But if we're looking at the 80-20 rule and we recognize that 80% of the output is coming from only 20% of the input, it makes more sense, it's more efficient to put more of that energy, time, and focus into things that's going to produce better results. So when it comes to your life and your business or whatever your passion is, look at the things that are working and see what you can continue to replicate. MC Car. That went on way too long. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of dialing in on the things that are already working and are producing the biggest impact, the biggest result. Because in that whole time span, for me to even reach that number, I put all of my time into brand outreach. I put all of my time into researching brands. I put all of my time into collaborations. I would prioritize a collaboration over my own video because that is what was going to produce the biggest impact. Even to the point of my first hire, the first person that I hired was to get someone to reach out on brands on my behalf. Let me know what you guys thought about this video. I hope you learned something. I really hope that you could take one of these lessons and apply it to your own life. If you want another video going more in depth in how I was able to do all of these things and how I was able to build it, I'll go ahead and do that for you. Just let me know in the comments below. I really just want to help equip people because I know what it is like to be hungry. Like, I'm still hungry right now, honestly. I feel like I could go further. I feel like my next goal for like the next year is to try and get to 100,000 subscribers, man. Like, I'm on that grind and I want to help other guys on that grind as well, help you guys with everything. So if you have any questions, man, drop them in the comments, and I really hope that this video blessed you in some way, shape, or form. And if you like the video, like the video. I know you heard me say it before, but you didn't listen to me. Go like the video right now. I'ma wait. You like it? All right. Also, if you guys need help with your hair, there's a free routine down below in the description. Go check it out. And if you like this video, like I told you, you definitely gonna like this one. So I advise you check it out. That's all from me, and I'll see you guys in the next video.